Okay, so I got a comment on one of my videos that I haven't seen in a good while. And it was one of the ones I did. I forget, it was the one about how to acquire copper pennies or hoarding nickels. One of the two. So I was thinking about this all day. I saw it last night. And I was just reading some of the comments on both of those, so that's why I forget which it was. But the guy asked me, why are you preparing for the end of the world? What good will what these precious metals or these base metal coins or food and water do you for the end of the world? Well, what a very well thought out question. So let's have a drink for this one. You see, let's suppose it was the end of the world. Well then, if an asteroid was going to hit the Earth, big asteroid, or big old comet, and there's nothing we can do, we're talking something like what happened with Mars and Ophiuchus. Something like a planetoid the size of, like a quarter size of the planet smashes in. We're talking complete annihilation. So, why would I be prepping for something like that? Well, the simple answer is, I wouldn't. Right? There's a big difference between the end of the world and what I believe. I believe that the U.S. is going to lose the reserve currency status. Now, when the British had the reserve currency status before us, they lost it during the Bretton Woods Agreement. Was that the end of the world? Let me see. I'm sitting here having a drink. When the Soviet Union collapsed, the USSR collapsed. It crumbled. Was that the end of the world? Well, again, I'm here having a drink, so maybe not. When the Spanish flu killed people all over the world in 1918, was that the end of the world? Well, let me see again here. I'm here having a drink, so maybe I'm not preparing for the end of the world. You see, if I knew that there was a big old asteroid or comet coming towards Earth, and I'm history, there's nothing I can do. And the food and stuff that I'm putting aside, well, it's going to be vaporized anyway, right? Or there's some man-made virus, we're talking about some movie that there's nothing you can do. Your history, right? Well, hey, I give up. There's nothing I can do there, right? If there's some scientist they've got nanobots, one gets out and they can't control it, you got the Grey Goo theory, it's going to just wipe everything out, there's nothing you can do to stop it. Well, I give up. What would I do? Man, I would drink like a fish. I have a drink here and there, now and then, when I make these videos mainly. Maybe I'll have a beer after work, after a long day, but that's about it. But the end of the world, I'm going to drink like a fish, right? Myself, I'm not into drugs. But hey, you know what? I might as well be. It's not like it's going to do any good for my health. If there's some asteroid coming towards Earth and going to just totally vaporize me anyway, what the hell does it matter, right? I'm talking about banging every, piece of tail out there. It doesn't matter. You wouldn't worry about consequences. That is a very stupid question. Why would you prepare for the end of the world? Nobody would. Right? I would spend all my money on vacations. I would do whatever I wanted to do. There's no point in putting stuff aside if you're going to die anyway. Why not live it up? You see, I believe the US dollar will collapse. We owe more than the rest of the world combined. Obama's math and my math are different. We had about $1 trillion when he got into office. We have about $2 trillion now. His last State of the Union, he said that he reduced the debt. I don't see how you go from $1 trillion to $2 trillion as reducing. But, hey, I don't know how he does math. I do it a little bit different. But eventually, I believe that we're going to be up the creek. Our debt goes up if interest rates go up, or by the Fed doing it, or eventually they have to anyway because the currency loses so much power. Well, then we're history. You have to pay interest on the debt. If your debt is too huge, you can't afford it. We can barely pay the interest on the debt now. So eventually, what happened to the British will happen here. And every time a currency collapses, people rush to metals. Now, the thing here is that everybody is using our fiat dollar. It's all fiat out there, but they're all using ours. So, when ours crumbles, what are people going to run to? The same thing they always run to in every single currency collapse ever. Metals. That's what always happens. So, am I preparing for the end of the world? No. Am I preparing for a significant devaluation of the dollar? Yes. The people that survived other collapses, hey, they're still around. Some of them. Look at Argentina and Zimbabwe. Those people are around. I mean, yeah, there's going to be some people that were killed, but most of them were okay. Now, as far as prepping goes for the end of the world, if there was a outbreak like the Spanish flu, would a person be better off out there going for supplies on a daily basis when there's some deadly disease that's easy to contract? Or staying at home, just sitting your ass at home, you've got food, you got water, and you've got firearms, and you got people to use as firearms in case something happens. Would you be better off in which scenario there? I'd imagine indoors. If there was a currency collapse and people were rioting, desperate, they're fighting over rats and stuff like that. I mean, in some places they even resort to cannibalism. So, if you look at places where people have been hungry, man, that happens quite a bit. Right? So, would you be better off fighting the mob out there for a piece of rat meat or something? Or would you be better off at home, right, with your food, water, and firearms and people to use those firearms? Or out there looking through garbage, right? I'd imagine you'd be better off indoors. So, to answer the question, why are people prepping for the end of the world? Well, the simple answer is they're not. Right? If you believe in a currency collapse like I do, you can be better off if, let's say, there's some natural disaster or some pandemic. Well, whatever happens, it's pretty much the same. There can be slight differences, but the basics are the same. Food, water, firearms, medical supplies, stuff like that. Right? Thanks to barter. Of course, depending on what you believe in, it'd be a little bit different, but would I be better off than the guy that prepped nothing if there was a pandemic? Yes. If there was a collapse and the guy that's worried about a pandemic and he's got food, water, and medical supplies put aside, would he be better off than the guy that did nothing? Yeah, I think so. So, that's something to think about. What a dumbass question. And if people ask you the question, you throw it in their face. How can you go through college, graduate, and still ask stupid questions like that? I know, they dumb the shit down so more people pass because everybody deserves a trophy, but come on, man. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I wanted to have a drink and get this out. Y'all have a good one.